Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture, and this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who make it happen. On today's podcast, we got a special guest. We're going to be discussing what it takes to build a successful restaurant brand with one of the owners of the well-renowned Lotus of Siam and also the managing partner of Bua Food Group. We got Miss Penny Chutima. Chutima, I'm saying it wrong. I thought I had it right. Did I mess it up right when I say it? So Chutima, I got to say it right. So Penny, welcome to Circle.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we're excited to have this. So I have been coming to y'all's restaurant, your family restaurant, for probably, I don't even know, 16 years, I think, from your old East location off Sahara. Amazing food. So we want to kind of first start off with your parents, Bill and Saipin, right? Is that how you say it? So your parents actually opened up the first location of Lotus of Siam on the east side of Las Vegas on Sahara about 24 years ago, from my understanding. What was your original goal? Was it actually to get into the family business, or what? How did you kind of jump into the family business? So we're gonna jump in deep. So.
Oh man, let's say that I hated the restaurant business.
Did you?
Just
Okay.
because of like what it did to my family.
Okay.
So it was just more of like, but as I grew older, I saw what my parents put into it.
Sure.
And just seeing what my mom did, like how she put in the hours. She did all, basically like, I don't want to say like she hustled, but she definitely hustled.
For sure.
She was working 16, 20-hour days. Like by the time she got home, it was like 2 a.m. By the time she woke up, would probably be like 6, 7. Come back, pick out produce, everything. At that time, we started in California, so she took the bus.
Oh, wow.
And when we moved here, it was my dad and her soul, and then, myself and my sister.
Sure.
And so when we probably, I want to say like, took in, she probably put in more hours than I seen like normal laborers, So that's what probably put me into like, oh, I can't just let it just stop right here.
Yeah.
So seeing what she did, I actually went and proceeded to do like law school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I was actually like, I was already at that point where I was like, no, I don't want to do the restaurant business. I want to be able to do something so that I can like just take my parents out of it. But as I grew older, I realized like my mom actually loved this place, So it was like she referred it to like her firstborn, even though I'm older.
That's amazing.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And you kind of see that, this has kind of been a staple in Vegas for a long time. Even when I first moved here in 2011, everybody said, you have to go to this restaurant. It's like the restaurant, it's off the strip, great location, the original one at least. And I think when you develop something like that and you create a staple in the city, it is kind of hard to move away from that. Did you feel like you mentioned a little bit of expectation to continue that path, did that go into it? Because it is such a mark, a specific place in Vegas that everybody knows about.
I mean, low key, it definitely was. It's even till right now, it's like a huge burden because you still have many words from other people who's been going to us for a long time versus like people who just started going to us, and it's just one of those things. It's like, I maintain the same thing that my mom did, even though it might be a little bit more, I don't want to say industrialized, but it's more fast paced. Like we're working smarter, not harder, and I think as we grow, people lose sight of like, oh, hey, it's an actual family business owned besides like, oh, they're just growing. It's like there's so much things going into growing a business that people don't realize like, hey, we are EEOC compliant. We hire everybody, whoever wants to work, We follow the rules, we follow our taxes, we don't cheap out on our product. Like I'm using the same stuff that people are using on the strip.
Yeah.
So it's like people who don't understand restaurant businesses, but they see it and they're like, oh, well, this other Thai restaurant's charging cheaper. But I'm like, yeah, did you know that some of them don't pay their people? Or some of them are using products that's not from like a reliable source, like, all that other stuff. And so it's like, we're in that cusp.
That makes sense, yeah. So you guys currently have 2 locations, right? So you have the Flamingo location. You also are inside Red Rock Casino. Can you talk about or be able to at least elaborate on what happened to the Flamingo? Is that anything you can touch on? Obviously, that it closed
that's
down.
Sahara.
I'm sorry, Sahara. I apologize. I said it wrong. Yeah. Can you at least touch on that a little bit on what happened and why you guys had to close down?
We still have the property.
Okay.
We're renovating it. It'll probably be done by, I want to say like February.
Oh, okay. Of 2024?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
But we're changing it up to where when you walk in, it's still going to be the same building like you saw 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But on the back end, we have like commissary kitchen. So it's
okay.
able to produce for more than 10 locations.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
So that's the
Okay.
goal.
So the goal is growth, is what I'm hearing. So the goal is to
100%.
really build this brand, right?
I mean,
Okay.
I have 115 staff on my payroll at just one location.
Wow.
I have like people who's been with us since I was a kid. So it's
Wow.
like my goal at this point is not just for myself because I'm comfortable. you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
But I got people who were here since I was calling them auntie, and that's the people that I have to take care of too.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
as you continue to grow, right? And I think one thing that has a challenge, from my opinion, is like some of these older places that are more of these staple type of Las Vegas locations, as you continue to grow, and you mentioned like becoming more integrated, more efficient, more forward thinking, a different type of interior look, and become more of that type of dynamic. Do you see a lot of the people's feedback is like, oh, even though you're doing the same exact recipes, the same exact product, but for some reason this one is different than the other one?
Oh man, I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time. But it's just like, I just always have to stay true. At the end of the day, it's different because a lot of people do see me as intimidating because I do speak my mind.
Yeah.
But it's probably the reason I have to is because I have to explain to these people every day that, hey, it's literally the same. My mom's the one who literally showed me. There's nothing different. It does by measurements. It does, like people would be like, oh my God, the portions got smaller. I'm like, we're still using the same measurements. Right? Like there's nothing that's changed.
That's amazing.
You know?
And I was like, how do you counteract that? Because I think a lot of it is that nostalgia, or like, I had such a great experience here. Now this experience is different, right? You don't get a little bit of a sense of difference from it, but it's the same thing.
I think a lot of people have a notion in their mind like, oh, this is always supposed to be this way. Like same thing. My menu price is supposed to be the same day that when you first came in. I'm like, no, bro, have you seen the price of glasses?
Yeah, inflation's crazy right now.
Yeah.
Like I used to get steaks probably like 8 to 9 a pound. The steaks that I'm getting, like ribeyes, is probably like 16 to 19 a pound. It ain't cheap no more.
That's unreal.
That's ridiculous.
You know that chicken wing epidemic?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
before it used to be $50 per like 10-pound case.
Mhm.
I'm paying like $2.50. So
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I supposed to still stay the same as like before? It's impossible.
Yeah.
And then labor rates,
It's literally went skyrocketed. Yeah.
100%. But
Yeah.
then, my staff in the kitchen, I pay for their insurance. So on top of it, I'm paying like what? Almost like 11, 12 grand just for like,
Just for the burden. Yeah.
yeah.
And people don't realize that. We talk all the time about the burden. I mean, it's probably an extra 29%, almost 30% on top of whatever they actually make, which people don't understand that in the small business world, that you think you might get paid a certain amount, but it's an additional, like you were saying, 10, 12, $13,000, $15,000 a year.
And that's the thing. But,
Yep.
it's like people's notion, they like automatically assume just because you're a restaurant growing, you have 1 or 2 locations.
Sure.
If you're doing really well, they don't see that back end.
Yeah.
They just see, oh, you're growing. You
Yeah.
have like
See
this
the
and this
brand.
location. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I got technically 200 people on my payroll.
That's a lot. That's a lot of babysitting too. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Rilla. You've been very verbal and kind of touched on like the misconception of Asian food being very inexpensive, right? Was kind of the goal of Lotus of Siam to really challenge that perception of, look, you need to pay for a higher end quality of food or a higher end experience? Was that kind of the original goal that your mom came up with, or maybe you guys came up with as a family?
You know what? In the beginning, it was just basically like to show people what Thai food was about.
Sure.
Like probably in the early when we began, I was still like running around the restaurant, but I could still hear people, like, oh, this isn't like pad thai, or this isn't the tom yum soup. Normally it's supposed to be hot and sour. I'm like, that's Chinese food first.
Got it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the stereotype that we had to deal with is like still trailing on. But it's like, I have to still go and be like, hey, look, khao soi, it's not yellow curry based, bro. Like, it's a whole different spice mix to make this. It's not like you just put yellow curry powder and that's what khao soi is. No. Even regular Thai people, some people don't even know, because there's like, I kind of want to explain, like, you have people from the South, you have people from California, you have people from New York. They're not going to make spaghetti the same way.
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting you say that, right? Like both Chris and I are from the Midwest, right? I wasn't familiar with Thai food, right?
Yeah,
Until I moved.
I'll
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't familiar with it at all. I lived in Chicago and also in New England. and we didn't eat Thai food. When I had it here in Vegas, specifically your restaurant, I fell in love with it.
Just because what's pad Thai? This sounds great.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you guys have done a lot. How would you say you guys are special compared to your competitors in your perspective? Because you guys are definitely special, right? What would you say that is?
Like for me, I don't go around like saying that I have competitors. Like,
Okay.
you know, at the end of the day, for me, it's like everybody all has to eat.
Yeah.
We're in this business, we're in this field, but for me to be different is because I actually pay attention to my staff.
Yeah.
And if I can take care of my staff, they're gonna take care of the guests. That's just
I
business
agree.
101
Yep.
at that point, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
But for me also, we're different is because we give people the opportunity. Like, you know, you can be fresh off the boat, fresh off the plane, and hey, you don't know how to speak English, but you got a little bit, I give you a chance.
That's
You know,
awesome.
like I've got servers who, many times, you know, you'll see those Yelp reviews. They were so rude. I'm like, this person does not speak that great of English,
Yeah.
so it comes off as rude, but
Yeah.
this is the best server that I can have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they put their heart and soul into it. Why am I gonna just,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, you guys have obviously done extremely well with building the brand, right? I mean, you guys have had Pharrell. You guys have all these different people come to your, to your location, specifically the one on Sahara. But it's amazing that you've been able to build this brand that people know it literally across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be exciting for you guys to be able to work this hard and be able to, continue that, family legacy.
Oh, 100%. Like
Yeah.
it makes me happy. You know, like
Yeah.
I see guests that come in that they enjoy our food, they enjoy the experience.
Mhm.
That's really what the business is about.
Yeah.
You know, we try to be that hospitality mode.
That's awesome. So are you actually taking over the business now from your parents? Is that what I'm understanding? How's the business work now as far as the Lotus of Siam on Flamingo, and then how you guys have broken out everything?
So Lotus of Siam in general is owned by my mom.
Okay. Yep.
That will always be.
Under her. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I just license it from her.
Okay.
So I pay her, you know,
Like a
whatever.
franchise fee,
Yeah.
basically. Yep.
Because at the end of the day, you know, I don't want it to seem like I just got it handed to me. Because, you know, that's what the word is around. Like,
Yeah.
she just got it handed. Like,
Yeah.
you know what it is, how hard it is to maintain a family business.
Yeah.
Like, anybody can get it.
Yeah.
But if you can maintain it, that's a whole different level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the big benefits or one of the big pros in the way you're navigating, Red Rock is not a small feat by any means. I think being able to build, develop, staff, and even just get into a situation like a casino to be able to implement a restaurant has to be extremely challenging. What was kind of that process like when it comes to just starting to build those connections with the group that owns the location that you're leasing from, or having to develop it and build it out and staff it? Like, that's a pretty large location, and it looks really fantastic. Like even the design had to have been a feat in itself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely was kind of a process. I have a great team. My team's over there is like amazing, but to get in with, I want to say like the Fertitas, they're amazing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
they're one of the people that I kind of look into as kind of like a mentor or something like that, because the
Yeah.
way that they run their business, I mean, you have staff that's been with you for
Mhm.
how long?
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is like working for them and she will never leave.
That's awesome.
And she's worked for many other people.
Yeah.
But, it's like one of those things, like they do take care of your staff.
Yeah. We've had Kelly Fertitta on, so we know the brand and what she's been able to do with the marketing and everything and build her own company. But you're right, they're beast mode. So what they've been able to do. So you actually partnered up with Lou, right, to actually build this hospitality company. And so that was the three projects you guys built at Red Rock, right? So you guys have Lotus of Siam, Red Rock. You guys also have Naxos, and then you guys have the Oyster Bar, right? How did you guys, you and Lou connect?
Oh, man. I used to work for him.
Did you really? Okay, for Tao?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I started off at Tao Group.
Okay.
And, well, it's just leaving the nest, trying to get experience to see
Sure.
what the real world really is, because I can't, like, you just can't run your family's business without actually going through it elsewhere.
Okay.
Because, you're working on your parents, you get like that leeway and everything. But when you work for somebody else, it's a whole different ballgame.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like being on time, checking your schedule,
Yeah.
stuff like that. When I worked for him, I was in the restaurant, and then I was started off as a hostess, and then
At the Tao Group? Oh, okay. Okay. So
So
you guys go
I-
back then.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
And then he's always been wanting a partner, like especially expand my mom's business,
Sure,
and we were
yeah.
never ready yet until COVID and everything hit.
Mhm.
So
No, I've met Lou. Lou's great. I was actually at you guys' grand open. I didn't get a chance to see you there, but it was a madhouse what you guys were able to do at Red Rock. But you guys have really introduced some amazing concepts at the Red Rock, right? So you guys actually have like a champagne party brunch. You guys have done multiple different things. Is that from your experience from Tao Group of kind of bringing that flavor kind of off the strip, or?
It's definitely like Lou's experience because
Okay.
I never really like throwing nightclub parties, but
Sure.
I always did party.
Yeah.
So it was like, bringing that to like the burbs. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You got your kids gonna be at like the park, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let the parents go to like this quote unquote champagne party brunch, and
Yeah.
like why go to the strip?
Yeah. Especially for us locals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love
That's what
Red
I'm
Rock in
loving, right?
general,
Is
too.
like, yeah, Red Rock is amazing what they've been able to do. And now it seems like everybody's really bringing, like, they're up in the other, right? I know you say it's not competitors, but they really are. Like, you've got Downtown Summer, and you guys have got what you guys have been able to accomplish. But I do want to talk about Naxos. Naxos got amazing food. How did you guys come up with this concept of Naxos and Greek food? Did you guys find a need that Greek food wasn't really doing it, or how did you guys come up with that concept?
I mean, that one is for sure like all of Lou.
Lou, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
Lou's the one who set that all up. I'm
Okay.
just a minority holder on that one, but
Okay.
it's like being in Vegas, there really wasn't any. If you did, you had to go all the way to Milan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So what other place has it?
yeah,
Nowhere.
yeah. Pretty, yeah. Not,
Yeah.
and then the way you guys have done it is awesome.
It's like
So,
an elevated Greek food. Like it's very much like
Yeah.
you don't really see that a lot. It's I'm
No.
gonna go get a gyro on a little
Yeah.
fast casual restaurant and head away.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a elevated thought process. Kind of that's how I would liken like Lotus of Siam, like an elevated Thai experience in general versus going and grabbing some fast casual food. So
And the team does a really well job, like finding and sourcing out like responsible types of proteins and stuff like that for the business too. But we're one of those that we watch what we eat. So
Sure.
like our produce, our seafoods, especially our shrimps, it's all wild caught. We're
yeah,
try to be responsible in something.
yeah, real organic. Yeah,
yeah, sourcing is definitely a challenge now. I think COVID really impacted that specifically for restaurants. I think just the transportation, to being able to get things at a reasonable cost. As you're trying to develop a brand and expand, does it create those different challenges? 'Cause now you're buying in bulk, and now sourcing something from a local, maybe a mom and pop that gave you good quality product for a reasonable price. Now you have to get 5 times as much, and it makes those processes a lot more challenging. Because you ran into some of that.
I mean, honestly, we still use local vendors. So
That's
they're
awesome.
all, like we go through Ocean Express, like Irfan's one of my boys.
okay, okay,
And it's like small family owned, but they've been around for a long time. And so
Yeah.
we always talk to them. We use them. We also use Samuel and Sons. So
Okay.
it's like, we still go through the same vendors, but
Yeah.
they're all responsible. If they can't find it, they'll try to responsibly source it for us.
That's
And
awesome.
So,
yeah,
we just, it's one of those things that you just have to just keep growing.
Yeah.
And if you grow, they grow with you. So
Yeah.
it's like not just one person alone.
And do you think being in Vegas makes that process a little bit better? Because we do have, I would assume, really great just distribution channels because of the casinos, and I'm sure
Sure.
the Fertitas at Red Rock have some pretty good relationships with some
Connections,
good
yeah.
quality vendors. So
Yeah.
does that help at all? Like,
yeah,
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
with our brand also, since we've been using like these vendors for 20, 30 years,
Mhm.
like it also helps. And then
Yeah.
when they see that we expand, they're happy about it. And
oh,
so-
that's exciting. It's always good to grow together. Yeah.
We've had multiple guests come on that have actually said Lotus of Siam is their favorite restaurant. I know you probably know Chef Barry over at Barry's. He's
Love it.
mentioned you guys. They're awesome people, friends of ours. What do you eat? What's your favorite thing on the menu? Let's start with Lotus of Siam. What would you say if you were sitting there eating tonight? What would you eat there?
I already ordered.
Okay, good stuff. Okay,
But for always, like I love to eat my mom's steak tartare. Like,
Okay.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
low-key, that's like my favorite.
okay.
And-
Steak tartare,
In Thai, we call it goi soy.
koi soy. Okay,
But some days, like, she'll have like these specials, and she'll bring in like the big bluefin tunas. And
Okay.
she'll make it like that, and that's like the best thing ever.
yeah.
I do play around with like my cow soys.
Okay,
I'll swap it between like soft shell crabs or short ribs.
okay.
Sometimes I'll do duck, but because like the first 10 years I was into duck, I kind of phased that out.
Okay, okay.
And so, but we also do, which is another one of my mom's like secret. It's nam which is like the
Okay.
pork stew with
Okay.
vermicelli noodle, and I think that's like game changer.
Okay, I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm
I was
hungry.
gonna say,
Yeah,
I was
but
thinking
I'm
the
gonna
same
get fat.
thing.
I'm literally, this is the worst interview we're able to do because I love y'all's restaurant and I'm
Got me a
hungry, so I've been
soft shell
fasting.
crab.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for
damn.
real. Though the garlic prawns, I'm just gonna have to say that is like my favorite thing on your menu. That is awesome. Yeah, absolutely awesome. Let's talk a little bit about problem solving. Obviously, being a business owner, being able to run through a lot of these holes and pivots and things like that. How do you kind of problem solve? What's kind of your strategy on business? Because you're dealing with 200 employees. Like when you're dealing with problem solving, I know you hit a lot of roadblocks. How do you kind of break through that?
You know, I had to put on the big boy pants
Yeah.
at a younger age.
Okay.
Because prior to that, I would probably be like, oh, try to avoid the situation. You
Sure.
know? But, you know, when my dad got sick and shit like that, I ended up having to really face problems head on. Like, you know, I ended up being, people call it, I wouldn't say combative, but I'm very confrontational. There you
Okay.
go. So
Okay.
I confront all the problems.
Yeah.
You know, I hear something, settle it then and there. Same thing with like employees. You have a problem, we gotta knock it out of the park now because I don't want you walking around with like that negative feel. Like it's uncomfortable with people, you know? Like why
sure.
walk around like that for weeks on end when you don't even have to worry about that at my spots. You know, like just talk about it with me.
Because the energy, the energy could be off immediately, specifically
100%.
cattiness and a lot of stuff you could deal with. Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, you know, you poison your own body. Like, why do that? Like, I would rather have all of us like sit on a table, figure it out, just get it through.
Yeah.
Same thing. Customers come in. I'm like, all right, hey, I guess I have to deal with it. Then I deal with it. But if it doesn't work, then I'm sorry. Here, figure it out. Part ways.
Yeah. I love that. Just take it head on. With us being, Vegas Circle, we talk a lot about who's in your circle, right? So who's been kind of some of your mentors to be able to kind of coach you? I know obviously your mom's been a huge asset for you, and that might be the person that gave you the most wisdom, but can you kind of give a gem on, what you learned or who's in your circle that's been a mentor or coach for you?
Oh man, I have quite a bit.
Okay.
Maybe it's because of like blessed by my parents. But
Yeah.
I am very lucky that I'm able to access to all these people. But, my business partner in general, too, Lou Wayman, I learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
But, I also learned from Andrew Churn, Mr. Panda Express. Him and his wife, I learned quite a bit from them.
Yeah.
He always likes to tell me, every time he comes, he'll be like, give me a denomination, like a number. Hey, what did you do last year? I'll be like, I did, give or take, like, just estimate. I'll just throw a number out. Be like, oh, I did 5 million. And be like, okay, do 6 million, then call me. And then when I beat it, call him, and then we'll talk some more. We'll like be like, okay, what did I do to change it? Along those lines. And then, just everybody in the industry. I still have my really good friend, Mike Cosman. I still learn from him too. And I'm just really thankful that I have these people in my corner.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What's one thing you learned from your mom?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The confrontational part.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets at it? Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things, like, don't back down.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, because
Especially being in business, you can't tiptoe around a lot of stuff, man.
Right.
And people will take advantage for sure. I can't even imagine being in Vegas with the restaurant business and things. It could be hard.
It's worse when you're like a female. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, I think my dad probably prepped me for this. I don't know, because I kid you not, half of my guy friends will think I'm a guy, or like 90% of my girlfriends all think I'm a dude. So it's like one or the other. But, it's like going into the rooms with a lot of these people, it's like you just can't shy away. At the end of the day,
can't
people
be timid.
No.
Yeah.
Because when you're sitting on a table with a bunch of these people, they already see through you. So if you're going to be like timid and shy, they already know how to work around you.
For sure.
That's just it.
Yeah. Love that. I love the honesty too, the transparency, because that's true. People will take advantage, and if they see one piece of it, they'll eat it, So awesome. With us talking about business advice, right? With us being a business podcast, can you share just one gem of business advice for, somebody that maybe wants to get in business for themselves, or maybe having those second thoughts of what to do? What would you say to them?
I mean, shoot. Honestly, when anybody really wants to get into a business, the first thing is to protect themselves. Like, don't think, oh, yeah, we're friends. We can be in a business together, like shake hands. No, I'm sorry. I promise you right now, somebody better go get a contract. You better have an operating agreement. You better do something to protect whatever you own, everybody owns, and what you put in.
Yeah.
Because anybody can be like, oh, I'm friends with you. The next day, they ghost you.
We learned that the first, we'll talk about that offline, but we learned that the first couple months.
You learn those lessons usually pretty quickly, though. Hopefully, it's not detrimental.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad you said that. I don't think anybody said that yet on the pod. So I know you've been known as the professional food taster, right? And we talk about favorite restaurants in Vegas, and I just got to know, what is your favorite restaurant in Vegas when you're not, obviously a Lotus of Siam or Naxos? Give us a gem I know you know. I know you know a lot of them. So
many.
Give us one that's good, very good.
Oh, man, there's so many talented ones for sure in Vegas. But let me give you by category.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Yep.
My steaks, I'll go to Barry.
Shout out to Chef. Yeah, I'm going there Saturday. So I think you go Friday. Yeah. Shout out to Yassine and Marco and Barry over there. Yeah.
For sushi and stuff like that, I would go to Kame, or I would go to Mizumi.
I've been to Mizumi before. What was the other one you said?
Kame.
What is Kame? Yeah.
Never been.
No,
to
that's
Kame?
a first.
I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Oh my god!
I'm looking at my wife on X. She was yelling at me. I don't think I've
never been there. Daryl's like, we've been there 5 times.
Literally. I forget the names. Where is that at? Yeah.
It's at the Lotus Apartments.
Lotus downstairs.
Yeah.
I passed by there before on Spring Mountain.
You have to if you want that. Like, I want to tell you, like, if you want that Japanese omakase experience.
Okay. Wherever you say, I'm going to, because I know you know your stuff.
Rating all these lists.
Okay.
And then Chinese food. Bro, I'm so sad. It used to be joyful, but they closed. I was going to them for like 24 years when we first moved here.
You gave some gems there.
Yeah, that's some good ones.
Okay. What else are you focused on, man? I know with the Bua Food Group, I know you guys are doing some big things on that with just launching your 3 projects. What else are you kind of focused on? I know you're going to be moving back into the Sahara location in February, but can you kind of share what else you want to accomplish?
I mean, currently we're definitely expanding. I have trips planned already. We're going to go to Austin.
Oh, Texas. Okay. Awesome.
Fun stuff. That's exciting.
See a bunch of my friends too.
Okay.
But we plan for Austin. We're probably aiming for Miami too. So.
Wow. Okay. Lot on the horizon. And that makes sense with you building the prep and everything. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, that's been great.
Be able to drop some gems for us and give us some locations that we could check out. But literally love what you guys are doing. Shout out to your mom and your dad. And honestly, for our listeners, if you have not checked out Lotus of Siam, you're missing out, because they've got really amazing food. I'm not just saying that. They're an amazing place to be able to go to. So you can check us out at thevegascircle.com and subscribe with us. So thank you very much. Awesome. We appreciate you. Thank you.